Look around you. Everywhere you turn, technology is seamlessly woven into the fabric of our daily lives. From the moment you wake up and check your phone, to the computers powering your workplace, to the electric vehicles gliding silently down city streets, modern life is built on a foundation of innovation. But, have you ever wondered what makes all this possible? The smartphone in your hand, the laptop on your desk, the electric car you might drive? Each of these marvels relies on a group of materials known as rare earth elements. These are the hidden ingredients that make our modern world tick. There are 17 rare earth metals in total. Despite their name, they aren't actually rare in the Earth's crust. What makes them special and challenging is how difficult they are to extract and refine. Mining and processing these elements requires complex technology, skilled labor, and often a significant environmental toll. Rare earths are the invisible force powering our technology. They're found in the vibrant colors of your TV screen, the tiny but powerful magnets inside your headphones, and the intricate circuits of nearly every electronic device you own. Without them, much of our modern technology simply wouldn't function. As the world shifts toward green energy and sustainability, rare earths are becoming even more critical. Wind turbines, electric vehicles, and solar panels all depend on these elements to operate efficiently. They're at the heart of the clean energy revolution, making our transition to a greener future possible. Today, control over rare earths is central to economic power and the global fight against climate change. Countries that secure a steady supply of these elements can drive innovation, create jobs, and lead the world in new technologies. The stakes are higher than ever, but it's not just about consumer gadgets or green energy. Rare earths are also vital for national security. Advanced defense systems, smart bombs, stealth technology, and night vision goggles all rely on these metals. In the modern era, military strength is closely tied to access to rare earth resources. You may not recognize names like terbium, dysprosium, or neodymium, but these elements are strategic resources shaping the world's future. They're the unsung heroes behind the scenes, quietly enabling the technologies we depend on every day. For decades, one country has dominated this story: China. Through a combination of resource abundance, government policy, and investment in processing technology, China has become the world's leading supplier of rare earth elements. Understanding how China gained this control, and what it means for the rest of us, is a crucial geopolitical question. The world is now grappling with the implications of this dominance, as nations race to secure their own supplies and reduce dependence on a single source. So, how did we get here? Let's uncover the fascinating history and complex geopolitics behind the hidden ingredients of our modern world. To truly understand how China came to dominate the world's rare earth market, we need to travel back in time to the era of Mao Zedong. It was a period of sweeping change, ambition, and upheaval. A time when the foundations of modern China were being laid, often through bold and sometimes risky experiments. Mao's vision for China was to transform it from an agrarian society into an industrial powerhouse. His focus was squarely on steel production, not on rare earth elements. The Great Leap Forward, launched in the late 1950s, was Mao's audacious plan to outpace Western industry by mobilizing millions of people to produce steel in backyard furnaces, no matter the cost. In the relentless search for iron ore to feed these furnaces, Chinese geologists fanned out across the country. Their explorations led them to the remote region of Inner Mongolia, where they stumbled upon the Bayan Obo mine. This site turned out to be not only rich in iron, but also home to vast reserves of rare earth elements, though few realized its significance at the time. Back then, rare earths were seen as little more than geological oddities. With no immediate use for them, miners routinely discarded these minerals as waste, piling them up in heaps that would later prove invaluable. China simply didn't have the technology or expertise to process rare earths. The nation's energy and resources were devoted to steel, which was seen as the backbone of industrial progress and national strength. Yet, even as rare earths were overlooked, the groundwork for future dominance was quietly being laid. State-led geological surveys meticulously mapped China's mineral resources, cataloging deposits across the country, including what would become the world's largest rare earth reserve at Bayan Obo. The treasure was there, hidden in plain sight, but its true value remained unrecognized for decades. The world had not yet awakened to the strategic importance of rare earth elements. It would take a seismic shift in leadership and vision to unlock this potential. The seeds planted during Mao's era would only bear fruit under a new generation of leaders, who saw opportunity where others saw waste. After Mao's death, that leader emerged, Deng Xiaoping. With his pragmatic approach and focus on modernization, Deng would set China on a new path, one that recognized the immense value of rare earths. And so, the real story of China's rare earth dominance began, a story that would reshape global industries and geopolitics for decades to come. After Mao, Deng Xiaoping saw China's future in technology, not just heavy industry. In 1992, he declared, "The Middle East has oil, China has rare earths." This marked a strategic shift. Rare earths became a national priority. The government invested in research, mining, and processing, aiming not just to participate, but to dominate the global market. China built state-owned enterprises and poured resources into mastering the complex chemistry of rare earths. The goal: control the entire supply chain, from mining to manufacturing high-tech products. Deng's vision was clear: China would be the world's factory for advanced components. This wasn't just about minerals, it was about global influence. The treasure chest was finally being opened. China's rare earth strategy was underway. The world would soon feel its impact. China's main weapon in the rare earth market was price. With low labor costs and state support, China undercut global competitors, including the US subsidies, and cheap loans allowed Chinese companies to sell below cost, driving foreign mines out of business. By the early 2000s, China's price war had worked. Most non-Chinese mines shut down. Manufacturers worldwide became dependent on China, not just for raw materials, but for processing and refining. Expertise in the West faded as the industry moved east. By the mid-2000s, China controlled over 90% of global rare earth production. The world had outsourced a critical supply chain to one country. For a while, cheap materials seemed like a win until the risk became clear. Dependency had a hidden cost. China's rare earth boom came with a massive environmental cost. Toxic chemicals and weak regulations led to catastrophic pollution in mining regions. Rivers and groundwater were contaminated, farmland poisoned, and cancer rates soared. The Baotou region became infamous for its toxic tailings dam, a hazardous legacy. Even Chinese officials admitted the cleanup costs would dwarf the profits. Recently, Beijing has cracked down on illegal mines and invested in cleaner technologies. But the damage is deep and long-lasting. The environmental price for dominance has already been paid by local communities. The scars will last for generations. For years, the world bought cheap rare earths from China, until 2010. After a diplomatic clash with Japan, China halted rare earth exports, sending shockwaves through global industries. Prices soared, and the world realized its vulnerability. Since then, China has used subtler tools: export quotas, taxes, and regulations, to maintain leverage. During the US-China trade war, rare earths were openly discussed as a bargaining chip. National security concerns replaced economic complacency. Western governments now see supply chain independence as essential. The era of taking rare earth access for granted is over. The scramble to diversify has begun. The 2010 crisis triggered a global rush to find rare earths outside China. Governments funded new surveys and companies revived old mines in the US, Australia, and beyond. Mountain Pass in California reopened, and Australia's Lynas became a major non-Chinese producer. But mining is only half the battle. The real challenge is processing and refining. For years, Western companies sent raw materials to China for final processing. Now, the West is investing in its own processing plants with government support. The US Department of Defense is backing projects to build a complete mine-to-magnet supply chain. It's a long, expensive process, but seen as vital for security. The world is determined to end its reliance on China. A new era of competition is underway. Catching up to China in rare earths is a huge challenge for the West. China's decades-long head start means lower costs, bigger scale, and deep expertise. Western mines and plants are more expensive to build and operate. China's dominance extends from mining to manufacturing finished products. To compete, the West must rebuild not just mining and processing, but also high-tech manufacturing. Environmental standards add cost and complexity, slowing progress. Public acceptance and regulatory hurdles make new projects difficult. The West's path is steeper and slower, but the stakes are high. Competing with China will require patience, investment, and innovation. The race is on, but the outcome is uncertain. The global rare earth landscape is undergoing a profound transformation. Once a niche topic, rare earths have now become a central focus in the world's race for technological supremacy and economic security. As nations realize the strategic importance of these minerals, the competition to secure reliable supplies is intensifying. For decades, China's near monopoly on rare earth production shaped the entire industry. While its absolute control is beginning to wane, China's dominance remains formidable. Its established infrastructure, expertise, and low production costs continue to give it a significant edge over emerging competitors. Western nations are ramping up efforts to diversify supply chains and reduce their dependence on a single source. New mines are opening and investments are pouring into processing facilities. However, matching China's scale, efficiency, and competitive pricing will be a long and challenging journey. The future of rare earths may not be a simple story of one winner. Instead, we could see the rise of an oligopoly, where a handful of key players, led by China, shape the market, set prices, and influence global supply. Yet technology could disrupt this balance. Breakthroughs in recycling rare earths from electronic waste and the development of alternative materials have the potential to reduce the world's reliance on newly mined resources. These innovations could shift the power dynamics in unexpected ways. If China chooses to leverage its dominance as a political tool, by restricting exports or imposing embargoes, it may inadvertently accelerate the global push for diversification and innovation as other nations scramble to secure their own supplies. The rare earth story is a powerful lesson in the importance of long-term strategy, investment, and the risks of supply chain complacency. It highlights how critical resources can shape the fate of industries and even nations. As the world wakes up to the strategic value of rare earths, we are entering a new era, one defined by heightened competition, greater awareness, and shifting alliances. Whether this new chapter brings greater stability and cooperation, or sparks fresh conflict and rivalry, remains uncertain. The stakes are high, and the outcome will shape the future of technology and geopolitics. The next chapter in the rare earth saga is being written right now, and its impact will be felt for generations to come.